Welcome back in. It is yet again another unexpectedly sunny Sunday. It won't stay that way. I live in a part of the country that is going to see a lot of rain over the next few days, so I'm going to enjoy this little sun break while I have it. So it feels a little strange, though, to be playing a Dickensian themed Christmas game while it is bright and sunny outside. But I'll suspend disbelief, if you will, as we play a little game called Spirits of Christmas. So let's see. So Spirits of Christmas, what is that game about? It is about, if you are at all familiar with the old Dickensian Christmas Carol story, that's what we are doing. We are attempting to change Scrooge's ways before it is too late, before he is unsavable. And we are trying to do that on the eve of Christmas so that when he wakes up in the morning, he is a changed man and he is no longer miserly and cold. He is a warm, loving human being once more. But to do that, we have to take him down memory lane, and we've got to scare the living bejesus out of him. And so that is our mission. Our mission is to take him on that journey. He's going to meet three spirits, as you'll recall in the story, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. And those spirits are going to show Scrooge a series of scenes from his own past and help him to understand where he went wrong, what mistakes he made along the way. And the way that works out in the game is, well, first of all, let me quickly pop back. I was in the wrong view here while I was shuffling cards. There's the full picture of the game. Sorry about that. And so the way this is going to work is we're going to play this game through 3 chapters or rounds. And so how that's going to play out is each chapter has its own deck of cards. Each chapter is based on the ghosts themselves of Christmas past, present, and future. And there are certain scenes, certain cards within that deck that we must complete in order to progress to the next chapter. There are a series of other cards that are optional to complete that will help us along the way, potentially. Yeah. And so those we don't have to complete. They can help us. They may just waste our time. It's not a mystery, though. We'll know when we get done setting up for the game. We'll know which order all the cards are in. They're shuffled, so every time you play the game, that order is going to be different. But nothing is mysterious. All of the objectives are laid out in front of us, and it's up to us to decide how we're going to go about getting this done. Now, the game is a rondel action selection game. So if we push in on the rondel, this is the action. These are the actions we're going to be taking. Now, for this first round, we're playing as the spirit of Christmas past. And so we start out in the middle of the rondel. And then what we'll do is we'll decide what our first action is going to be. Let's say we're going to move. I'll talk about all of that as we go, but we would move up here. Now, in order to move, we have to spend shillings. Shillings are this kind of the currency in the game, and everything costs either shillings or cards or both, depending on what we're doing. So in the case of move, I'm moving 1 step. I'm moving from the center out to one of the actions. That's 1 shilling. If later I want to move, I want to draw cards or give/trade, the other 2 adjacent from move, that's just 1 shilling, right? Because I'm moving 1 step. However, if let's say I'm at move because we just started the game and I decided to do move first, and I wanted to play cards second, I would have to move 2 steps. And in order to do that, it would cost me a shilling, and I would have to discard 1 card of my choosing from my hand. Those are the solo rules. If you're playing multiplayer, it just costs more shillings the further you move. But in the solo game, everything always costs 1 coin. You're just required to discard cards in addition to spending the 1 coin. So it's a bit of a different take, but it has to do with the money distribution in multiplayer. So rather than making you spend more coin, it was just easier to make you discard cards. Why does it matter if you discard cards? Because if you run out of cards, meaning the draw deck, this draw deck of cards, if this draw deck runs out in the middle of a chapter, tough luck. You don't get more cards till the end of the chapter. So you have to budget your use of cards. We can't just go willy-nilly around here discarding cards crazy, because you'll run through that deck and then you won't have cards with which to play the game, and then you lose. So you have to complete the chapter, each chapter, all 3 chapters ultimately, to finish the game, to complete the game. And in order to do that, you need to not run out of cards, both the deck of cards and the cards in your hand. You also need to not run out of money. You start the game with 15 shillings, which I will count out now. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 shillings. All right. So we have our shillings. I'll move the pile off here. So the stuff outside of the bowl is what we currently have in our hand. The stuff in the bowl is the discard. The bowl is also black, but that's okay, because it will become apparent where the line is as one fills up more than the other. So we're going to spend money to take actions. We're going to possibly discard cards to take actions too. We're going to earn point cards for the action for the things we were able to accomplish during each chapter. Let's see what else. Oh, right. We are playing, because it's a solo game, we're playing with this board up on top called the Counting House. Counting House is a scene and also an important beat in Scrooge's life. And the Counting House board will have cards on it. Those cards will simulate other players giving you cards. So you can take, that's why on the rondel you have a give or trade action. This rondel is double-sided, and because we have the Counting House in play, this action is give or trade. In the multiplayer game, it's just give. So we would come here and play trade, because in the multiplayer game, there is no give, because there's no one to give cards to. So you can also play the Counting House variant multiplayer, which is why give or trade is on this board. But when we're playing solo, we can only trade with the Counting House. So that essentially says, I don't have the cards in my hand. The Counting House has cards that I know I need. Because they're face up, I'm going to go and take the trade action and trade with the Counting House. Or I could just draw blind and draw 3 cards on the rondel instead. So that's kind of the flexibility. You have a small market of cards available to you in the Counting House that you know what they are, and it essentially is simulating other players helping you complete the objectives. Now, what are the objectives? So let's start with the first chapter. First chapter is this Ghost of Christmas Past deck. It is Spirit 1, as they say in the theater world when you're doing doing Christmas Carol. So we'll take Spirit 1's deck, and this was shuffled while I was talking, and we just lay them out one at a time. And these I'll zoom in on these as we go, but I'm just going to get these laid out to make sure that everybody can see them on camera and adjust everything as needed. Okay, can we see that card? You can. It's a little bit off, so I'll shift them a little, make it easier on everybody to see. So this is the order that we got in Chapter 1 for this game. And if we click in a little close, you won't be able to see all of them. I can zoom over just a little bit so we can see that. Yeah, okay. So this is the almost start of the line. You still can't quite see the first card. Okay, so that's the first card. Scrooge starts out in his bedroom, of course, because in the story, he always starts out in the bedroom. And when we start the game normally, let me look at the cards and how they're laid out. There we go. He will always start out in the middle of the row, and you'll have your choice of moving him onto the Countryside Nostalgia card in this case, or the Ghost of Christmas Past card, because those are the 2 that are adjacent to his bedroom at the start of the game. Now, there is a way we can adjust where he starts. We'll get to that in a moment. But for the sake of argument, let's say, well, let me just call attention to two different types of cards. There's actually three different types of cards, but the two most common are the shadow scenes. Those are the important ones. Those are the critical ones, the required ones that we have to complete in order to complete the chapter. And then there's the coin scenes. These are just scenes that give us things that aren't as important to Scrooge, but they fill out the narrative of his story. So what we're really trying to do is get these shadow scenes done. You can tell the difference by this. There's a couple different ways, but by this super subtle treatment on the bow. I raised my eyebrow at the designer who decided that was enough treatment to make these cards stand apart. They're a little shadowed compared to this bow here, for example, that is not shadowed. Now, that's not the only way you can tell the difference, so it's kind of okay. You'll notice the icons on the bottom of these cards are very different. These are 3 wreaths, but then these right here are shillings and cards, right? All of the coin scenes all just have shillings and or cards on them, and they let you replenish the shillings in your supply or the cards in your hand or both. These are actually the symbols for the cards that are on for the virtues that are on the face of the cards that you're drawn in your hand. And so you're trying to play the right type of card or combination of cards to satisfy these requirements. In this case, I need to play 3 wreaths. And wreaths in this game, they're basically 3 virtues. And one of them, where are they? There they are. Contentment are the wreaths. And then you also have hearts, which are compassion. And then money, which in this case is charity. It's a money bag, which in this case is charity. So the 3 virtues in the game, again, contentment, compassion, and charity. Contentment being symbolized by the wreath, compassion symbolized by the heart, and charity by the money bag. The colors are green, red, and yellow, basically. So you're going to see me play cards on Isabel. In this case, I'm going to play 3 wreaths to try to satisfy the shadow scene for Isabel. Later in the game, down the line here, you can't see that one because it's towards the end, so I'll shift it over. This is another one that is a shadow scene for Act 1, and it is 2 wreaths and a charity. So 2 contentment and a charity. This is Lonely Childhood. And then lastly on the list here, you can barely see it off to the edge, is Old Fezziwig. Old Fezziwig requires 2 contentment and a compassion. So I'm going to be hunting for contentment a lot. In the first chapter, it seems like, it looks like I need 7 contentment and 1 compassion will be the total number of those types of cards that I'm going to need to amass and then play throughout the game. Now, there's a couple other wrinkles. There's like a torch. Torch of Plenty is a card that you'll see once in a while. If you spend the torch, you can basically get what is the word? The torch lets you, hold on, let me find it. How do I describe the torch? The torch, yes. The player may use the torch to take any of the 4 actions on the rondel as a bonus action. It doesn't cost you money to take, and the spirit token doesn't move. So essentially, I'm just going to say, and I do this, without having to do anything else. Now, if you don't use the torch at the end of the chapter, you get extra points. So it's better not to use the torch, but if you need it, it's there. The torch is not actually deployed at the beginning of the game, so I will stick that out. The torch token is off to the side, and we put it on the board once we actually play a Torch of Plenty card that makes it available to us. Okay, so I have a hand limit of 5 cards, which means that if I have 5 cards at the end of my turn, I have to discard down to 5. I'm allowed to have more during my turn. I just can't end the turn with more than 5. That is a change from the multiplayer game where you need to have, or your hand limit is 7. When it comes to movement, when I'm moving down this line or up this line, I can't double back during the same move. So if I want to move, let's say 3, I would have to move in 3 in a single direction. I can't just go 1, 2, and then back 1, right? Can't do that. I have to go in one direction. The other thing is this does not loop. So if I walk down to the end of this line and then I want to go over here, I'm going to have to walk all the way back. So I have to be cognizant of that. Now that's important because Isabel's over here and old Fezziwig's over here, and I start right here. So I'm going to have to go to Isabel because she's closer, I think, and then work my way all the way down. I think that's how that's going to go for this game. But there's a bit of a wrinkle. We're supposed to start the game by reading the Marley's Ghost card. And Marley's Ghost says, you will be haunted by 3 spirits. Expect the first spirit when the bell tolls 1, the second at 2 o'clock, and the third when the bell tolls 3. I leave you, but with the tiniest chance of escaping my fate. It says optional, but I'm going to take it for my first game. Choose or randomly select a gift card. The gift card will remain face up in play throughout the game. Remove this Marley's Ghost card from the game. So in other words, this is just the reminder to take your gift and use it. There is also the end of it, but we're going to read that at the end of the game. And this is the stack of 3 gifts. Now, I think I'm going to choose our starting gift this time around because it's my first time playing this game. And it will give us a special ability for this game of some kind or another. So gift number 1 is called High Principles. 15 shillings a week with a family, and yet we talk of a Merry Christmas. Scrooge is lovely. At the start of each chapter, after drawing your starting hand of spirit cards, draw 3 additional spirit cards and divide them amongst the group. If you're playing solo, at the start of each chapter, exchange up to 2 cards of the same with the same number of cards from the counting house. So I get a free trade action of up to 2 cards. That's interesting. Okay. And that's at the start of every chapter, so 3 times throughout the game. Gift number 2, Generous Spirit. This is a time when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. Keep this card face up. At any time during the chapter, gain 1 shilling. Then remove this card from the game. Ooh, so I get 1 shilling 1 time throughout the game? Doesn't seem great. Okay, gift 3, Chance of Change. The shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. At the start of each chapter, after drawing spirit cards, move the bedroom card with Scrooge on it to any position along the line. Oh. Make sure the bedroom card touches 2 scenes, so you don't want to hang it off the end. It's got to sit in the middle of 2 cards, so you always have 2 choices. That is a good gift. I like that because it's after I draw a card, so I know what I have in my hand, and it's after we've laid out the scene, so I know what order things have to be in. So I get to start Scrooge wherever I want along the line. That's potentially huge. We're taking Chance to Change. That is our special ability for this game. So the other 2 gifts are now out of the game. And we are getting close to being able to start the game. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really need to cover before we get going. I need to set up the counting house. Let's do that. Let's make sure that I'm not missing anything about counting house. No. Okay. Yep. Great. Let's go set up counting house real quick. Counting house says, start the game normally, then perform the following steps. Well, before I do that, setting up the game includes me drawing cards. So let me draw my cards first. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Deal cards to each player based on the count. 1 player, 5 cards. All right. So I take 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let me just show you those real quick. So again, very simple cards. I'll pop in a little closer so you can see. There we go. So Contentment is example of one of the cards that I was drawn. And this is a very green card. So again, it's a wreath green, very simple. It can be used in a couple different ways. It can be used to move one. I can just discard the card during a move action to move one space. Or I can spend it on a shadow scene as one contentment. And this is actually one of a few rarer cards in the deck that would allow me to take any action I want for 1 shilling, no matter where we are on the rondel. So that is something else I can do with this particular card. If I look at this charity card instead, I can discard this card during a move action to move 3 spaces, exactly 3. And if I get to the end, then I have to just forfeit the rest of my move. But I don't get to just decide to move 2, and I don't get to backtrack. I have to move 3 if I play this card. But it also counts as a charity if I play it as a charity. And then finally, since we're here, here's Contentment. This particular card has a movement of 2, or I can play it as a compassion. Sorry, not contentment. I can play it as a compassion towards one of my shadow scenes as well, which I need to for Old Fezziwig. So we're going to want to try to keep that, and we're going to want to try to keep that. These two are negotiable for this chapter because I only need 1 compassion for all of this chapter's requirements. So I'm going to be thinking about how do I, I'm going to be thinking about saving at least one of those 2, and I need as many of the reads as I can, contentment, because I need 7 of them in order to finish this chapter. So those 3 I'm going to say are non-negotiable. These, though, we can spend these for movement or for other things. All right. So we've drawn our starting hand of cards. I will just maybe layer them up here for the moment. Yeah, that'll work for now. You can basically see my cards. I'll put that back on, Scroogey boy. Okay, yeah, so you can basically see my cards there. And right, so I've drawn my cards, and now it's time to set up the counting house. Counting house says, draw 5 random spirit cards placed in face up on the counting house board. Okay, and at the beginning of every next chapter, take any leftover cards in the counting house and shuffle them together with the spirit deck. I see. Okay, great. So they will get shuffled back into the deck. So since we're going to set this up, I'll just go ahead and draw them back out. Oh, see, Charity's got one of those. If we'll come in here, Charity's got one of those like fancy do whatever you want for 1 shilling cards. That's good. We only start the game with 15 shillings, and if we run out of money and we can't get any more, we lose the game. And as you remember, most moves in the game cost at least 1 shilling, so I have to be very careful. Okay, only 1 contentment came out, so that means I'm going to need to do trade to get that contentment. In fact, that might be one of our choices. Yeah, I don't mind that. Okay. Let's pop back out to the main view so we can look at that a little closer. All right, so I think we are ready to begin. If there are any questions, as always, shout them out. The game comes with this, by the way, the game comes with this lovely little reference card. It gives you all the symbology and what they mean. Gives you how to score at the end of every chapter. There's also a player aid card that talks about the actions you take and how to execute them. Very well done. I don't have to look at the rulebook for much, as long as I remember that I have player aids, which is a challenge for me half the time. We'll scoot these up since we've already dealt out action the first chapter. So, okay, so I guess because we have we'll get into gameplay now. I guess because we have Scrooge in the bedroom and we have our gift of being able to set Scrooge's starting location. I'll go ahead and shift these up, I think, for now. Let's figure that out. I think, for the sake of ease, I want to actually shift the bedroom to this first set. I want to have this first choice over here so I can just keep walking down the line here. So when we move for the first time, we're going to choose between going to the Christmas Eve dance and getting 2 shillings, which we may do. That might not suck. just to get a free 1 shilling, because I have to spend 1 for the move action, but I gain an additional 1 by doing that. So that might not be a bad idea. In fact, I like that as our first move. Okay, so we have Scrooge on his bedroom card. The spirits put out its strong hand, clasped Scrooge by the arm, and spoke, "Rise and walk with me." So beginneth the game. So for our first action, we're going to spend 1 shilling to take the move action on the rondel. And to do that, we just take Scrooge and we move him 1. Oh, actually, that's not true. I think we actually have to discard. That's how this works. We have to discard cards and then move based on that value, right? That's what I said before. So it only makes sense if we take the move action and then decide which card. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're not necessarily going to take that action. Hold on, we spent a shilling. Let's put that shilling back and we'll decide what that means. Choose a single spirit card from your hand and play it into the discard pile. You must play a card. I see. Okay, well, I need contentment, so I don't necessarily want to go here. I have a better idea. Yes, I have a better idea. Okay, we are going to take the move action, but we're not going to go where we thought. We are, in fact, going to go to Isabel first. Now, that was our move. And in order to do that, we had to discard a card. So I'm going to choose this contentment. I know, I need them, but I have to move 1. And here's why. So we've moved here. That's not true. I could move 2. I could move 2. What am I doing? Let's move 2. We'll play one of our spare compassions, and we'll move here for 1 and here for 2. That's going this direction. That is a legal move. So we ended up in the same spot, but we spent a card we didn't need in order to get there. So that was our move action. Now to move again, now here's the thing. I really want to play cards here, but I don't want to discard a card and spend a shilling to get down here. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 move here to give or trade. In this case, I'm going to trade. Let's talk about trading at the counting house, because that is new. Boop, boom, boom, boom. There we go. At the beginning, draw. Right. Discard 1 card from your hand to the discard pile. Note that you must have at least 1 card in hand to take this action. Draw into your hand any 2 cards from the counting house. Ooh. Okay. Refill the counting house back up to 5 by drawing additional spirit cards from the deck and placing them face up into the empty card spaces. Ah, okay. So I get to discard 1 and draw 2. That doesn't suck. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard this charity, and I'm going to draw this fancy charity with the special bonus action on it, and this 1 contentment, which we definitely need. So, just like that, I'm now 1 move away on the rondel from playing cards, and I have all 3 of my contentment ready to go. I don't have to have all of them ready to go. I can play them piecemeal, but that means I'm coming back later to drop off the last one. Not very efficient. So in this case, I can actually get this done in 1 move. So yeah, so we're going to play cards, and we're going to pay a shilling to make that action. So we're going to play all 3 of these contentments on this on the Isabel shadow scene. So those get discarded, and that completes the Isabel shadow scene. So we flip over the card to show that it is completed. And now that is the end of our play cards action. I'm only down to 2 cards left though, so I have to be careful. I need more cards. Good news, I'm 1 step away from drawing 3 cards, but I didn't refill the counting house, which doesn't matter, but it does matter in terms of what cards I get drawn. So that's what I'll do. So I'm going to spend a shilling. Am I? Yeah. I'll spend a shilling to draw 3 cards. And I will draw 3 off the deck. Lucky me, I drew 2 contentment and a charity I don't need the charity, but I do need the contentment. I need 2 more, as a matter of fact. One of them's up in the counting house, so I might want to go get it. But that's okay for now. I'm torn. I want to move 1 to get the coins from the Christmas Eve dance, but I don't want to spend the contentment, which is what I would have to do to move 1. So instead, I have these charities. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the charity. Am I? To move. Yeah. I'm debating. Do I spend a shilling and a card to move, to go straight to trade right now? Because I kind of need to move 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that means I need different types of cards to do that. I don't want to move twice, though. I don't know. If I trade, I'm going to end up with 1 extra card, and then I'm going to have to discard one of them down. So maybe I just move for 2. Yeah, I'll move for 2. Okay, so I'll spend 1 coin, and I'll discard this compassion, and I'll move to the countryside nostalgia, which will give me 1 coin back and let me draw a card. Good, sort of. That's okay. But now that I've landed on the countryside nostalgia, it is now done. You only get to use them once. I need to move 2, so it is time to trade. So we're going to say give or trade. And we're going to trade for compassion and this contentment, which we also need. But we traded a card for that. So we're trading one of our charities for that. Now the problem with that is I'm down to 6 cards. I still have to discard one of them. So I guess I'll discard a charity. Now we're down to 5. Yeah, let's move 2. 1, 2. And now I get to play 2 contentment and a charity to complete the lonely childhood shadow scene. Nice. We're 1. Oh, I didn't fill the counting house again. Lots of charity up there. That's no good. Okay. So that leaves us with, I just need 1 more contentment. And I'm down to 2 cards, so drawing 1 doesn't suck right now. Oh, wait. I needed to move to do that. Sorry, I needed to play cards to do that, and I couldn't. Hold on. Let me retro that. I moved, but I don't get to just play cards right away. That was my mistake. So I moved down here, but this is not done yet. In order to get there, I need to do what? Well, we know we need that. I guess I could discard that. I don't really want to. I need these 2 cards. Hand size, hand size, hand size. What does it say about hand size? Am I getting that wrong? At the end of your turn, if you have more than 5. Yeah, I'm not getting that wrong. That is right. Okay. Well, give or trade. I guess I don't really have a choice. Because if I draw 3 cards, I'm drawing back down anyway. And if I give or trade, I'm going to be 1 over. And there's nothing really to trade there that I want. Now, I could just spend a shilling. I think this is the best time to do this. I'm going to... Oh, I need this charity, though. Do I? Yeah. I still think that might be the right thing to do, though. I'm going to play this charity for its special ability, because it happens to have one of those special symbols on it. Let me read it. There it is. There are 3 spirit cards in the deck that have a special icon. On your turn, instead of taking an action on the rondel normally, if you have a special spirit card, you can choose to play it in the discard pile, take any action on the rondel for exactly 1, but you do move the spirit token. Ooh. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, this is probably a mistake, but I'm going to go ahead and play that for its special ability. It's going to cost me a shilling like usual, but I'm going to go down here to play cards. I don't have to discard a card to do it. So I'm going to spend 2 of my contentment. I spent my, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. No, but I had to because it was the special card. Okay, never mind. So I spent 2. I still need to put another charity on this card, but I think that was okay. So now I'm going to draw 3 cards. Oh my God, I got 3 compassion. I don't need another compassion. I need charity and contentment. So I think I have to move. I can't play cards. There's nothing to play. Yeah, let's spend a shilling and move. Oh, this is not becoming efficient. And we're going to spend the random compassion card to move 2. We'll come over to Fezziwig. And so now we're going to do a trade action for another shilling. This is starting to hurt. We're going to spend that card and we're going to trade for, I guess, 2 charity. No, we're going to trade. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. A trade for a compassion and a charity, because I only need 1 charity for this whole thing, and I don't need to move 3. This deck is getting real thin, y'all. Oh, there's my contentment figures. Okay, so we're going to spend 1 to play cards. We're going to spend these 2 here. So we're close. We're close to those requirements. Oh, I'm going to run out of money. I'm going to go back to give or trade, and I'm going to trade one of these compassion for, we'll just go here. Again, deck's going to run out. I'm going to run out of money. It's not looking good. Right, okay. So we're going to come back here to play cards. 1. And we're going to play this contentment over here. And we're going to finish off old Fezziwig here. Okay. Now, we're going to play a shilling and we're going to discard a card to move directly to move. So we move 2 spaces, which is why we had to do both of those things. And we're going to spend compassion to move, which will come here. Oh boy, I am almost out of money. I need to be able, that's not good. I need to be able to play cards and I can't. Whoa, that's not good. Am I going to lose in the first round? Maybe. If so, I'm going to reset and go again, because that turned into a cluster there towards the back half of the chapter. Because it won't take me that long to reset this, because there's nothing else to do but shuffle the 2 decks and give myself $15 back. We might just try this again. I want to at least get out of the first chapter, but I understand now how this can go sideways fast. Is there nothing else I can do? I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason why is I'm thinking if I spend the shilling to draw 3 cards, then I don't have any more money left to take further actions. If I can't play a card to move 3, which would put me over here with spending the charity, but because it would only give me 1 shilling and let me draw 1 card. Well, I would need another card in order to move back, and then I would need the charity card to place here. I wouldn't have the cards. I'd only have 1 card. And I would only have 1 shilling, so I couldn't draw more cards. I'm doomed. I think I am doomed. Yeah. Okay, lesson learned. Let's shuffle up and go again. And I think we're gonna take that as a learning session. I'm not gonna get through 1 chapter and then lose, and then call it a day. We'll just play it a second time, no problem. Okay, so here's how this is gonna go when we reset. I'm just gonna shuffle up these chapter cards, no problem. There's not very many of these, so that we don't know what order we are gonna be in for this next round. Might be a whole different strategy this time. Fine. Okay, and then we're going to take these cards, these action cards, or spirit cards as they are called, shuffle them up, and we'll just give them a good, 3 riffle shuffle and be done with it. Maybe a cut, just for safekeeping. Okay. All right, so draw me 5 cards, 1, 2. Now the requirements are not going to change, so I know I need a lot of contentment. I got a lot of charity though. Okay, we'll see what happens. Now I got my cards. We'll load up the counting house again. Okay. Right. That's that. Bedroom comes back to center for the moment. Our Spirit of Christmas Past is back to the middle. I have 14 more shillings, please. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So back to 15 shillings. Right. Now let's figure out what we're dealing with. Okay, Lonely Childhood is first up. Torch of Plenty in the middle. That's interesting. Okay, Old Fezziwig, and then Isabel in the back. Interesting. All right. Well, in fact, we'll scoot all of this up so you can see my hand a little bit better this game. Yeah. Okay, so just for the reference, the shadow scenes are here, here, and here. So very similar distribution. In fact, the exact same distribution, just different cards in different places. We still have the same gift. We're going to keep using that. I liked it. We did not get dealt enough to immediately put any one of these to bed. But that's okay. We could do a trade first before we move. And if we do that, those are my cards. So if we do that, we have a contentment and a charity already. We just need 1 more contentment for Lonely Child. So we could just do a trade. So maybe we come here. And then our first action is actually to do a trade. Now we can do a move first to spend the cards we need. And we'll pull the same trick. We'll play this compassion for 2. And we'll go, in fact, that's actually what we'll do. We'll start here instead, and we'll go 1, 2. Yeah. And now, before we play cards, that was our move. That was 1 shilling. And then give or trade. We will now trade. We'll trade one of our charities for, I think, both contentments, because these are hard to come by, or at least they were. So we'll do that. Was that a mistake? Might have been. I don't think so. Okay. And that was that we needed to pay a shilling to do that. And now we can play cards for a shilling. So we're going to play these 2, or these 3, which will actually completely complete the Lonely Childhood. So that's done. We've now shown him the Lonely Childhood. Okay. Now we need to draw cards. Ooh, nice to see there's so much compassion in the world. But also that tells me I don't have to worry about finding compassion now. I know it's up there. I could always take a trade. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to play this 3. We're going to do a move. But we can't yet. Let's draw 3 cards. We need cards anyway. And we'll draw 1, 2, and 3. Still no compassion or contentment. Great. Love it. But we did get one of the special take an action for free things. Well, not for free, but yeah. Okay. So now we'll spend another shilling to move, and we'll move one of these charities. We'll move 3. 1, 2, 3, which gives me 2 shillings back. So it was a net gain of 1, which completes the Christmas Eve party, I think. Now I'm hunting for charity again. I could spend 1 shilling here. I like that, actually. We're going to spend 1 shilling to play charity with its special ability, which lets me, I'm going to draw cards. Now, what's the point of that? I could have just done that without, because I need to, no, I get to move. I can just keep it there. So if I wanted to, I could move for free because I'm right there. Why would I want to do that, though? Let me pull this back and think about that. What I really need is to draw a card. So I could just draw cards. I don't have to spend that card to do it. Yeah, we want to keep that in this. So those are this is technically expendable. I'd like to keep that for a special ability. So let's go draw 3 cards. And we'll decide what we're discarding. Oh, good. I got all of the contentment I think I need. Oh, almost. Close. Did I only draw 2 cards or 3? I think I only drew 2. I'm supposed to draw 3. I got another contentment. Well, that's actually handy. I think I'm going to go ahead and just discard this charity. What else am I discarding? I guess I'll discard both of those. It hurts, but that I think is the smart play. It's down to 5. Yeah. Yep. Discard those down to 2 or down to 5. And then I'm going to spend 1 coin to move 1. And we'll spend a contentment to do that. go here, spend these to complete Old Fezziwig. Need to draw more cards again. Spend 1 to draw more cards. Oh, good. Okay, not quite what I needed, but not bad. I'll spend a coin to move, and I'll spend a contentment to move too. And then I'll spend a coin to draw 3 more cards. I'm hunting for that last contentment. There it is. Okay, I don't need to move, so I don't really care what I discard. I'll just go ahead and discard a compassion. And now I'll spend a coin to play cards, and I'll spend these 3 right here on Isabel, which I was currently standing on. That completes chapter 1. Okay, if I lose now, I don't care, because at least I completed 1 chapter. I'm down to like $6 though, so it ain't looking great. Let's talk about end of the chapter. A chapter ends in 2 ways. All players lose by not having enough money. Yeah. All players finish the chapter by completing all shadow scenes. Did that. When that happens, do all of the things. Take point cards for the points the group earned during this chapter and keep them in a pile. So let's talk about points. End of chapter scoring. Gain points for each coin card visited. That means I only visited 1 coin card. That one. The other 3 are chapters. So I'm going to take 1 point. I'll put those over here. 1 point for that. And then it says, for each coin that remains in the pool, plus 1. So I have 6 points because I have 6 coins left. So I'll flip them over, and there's 2 points in the back. There's basically 1 point on one side, 2 points on the other. So I'll take 6 points. If you entered the chat, oh, hey, thanks for the hydrate. If you ended the chapter with the torch on its space, I did not because I never visited the Torch of Plenty to put it there, then I would have earned 3 extra points. But in this case, I did not. So, right. I don't get any money at all. This is going to suck. I'm going to have to start really using those coin cards, I think. That's the lesson. Okay, what do I do? Discard all spirit cards from the deck and from players' hands. Oh, wow. Okay, so those are gone. And all of those are gone. Yep, just want to make sure everything looks good on the camera. I think so. Okay, and then we take these, the leftover cards from the deck, we'll just randomly shuffle those in. And we'll give these another shuffle. Discard all scene cards from the chapter and remove them from the game. Finesies, I will do it. I think the lesson is I can't discount or ignore those coin rooms or those coin scenes just because they're not part of the objective. They basically let me move for free because they're giving me a coin back every turn. Every time I land on one, I get 1 coin, most of them. So, okay, I did shuffle these already. This is the chapter 2 cards. These are cards we have not seen yet. And we're starting out the line with one shadow scene, ignorance and poverty. In this chapter, we have things like the Christmas Goose, Toast the Old Miser, Tiny Tim, the Nephew Fred, Splendid Party Games, and Ghost of Christmas Present. We do have the Torch of Plenty again, of course. But no double coin spot this turn, crucially. Lots of compassion required for this chapter. Not too surprising there. Where do we want to start the bedroom for this chapter? Okay. Oh, good. Compassion. Oh, good. Lots of compassion. I like that. We need one contentment. We do need one charity. Okay. All in all, not a bad counting house. Let's see what we got in our hand. Before we do that, let's shift everybody up here. Sort of. Got to make room for the bedroom. Okay. That's good enough. All right. What do we have here? We have nothing but charity and contentment. Great. Wonderful. On one hand, I suppose that's good because it means the deck is, primed for doling out more compassion cards, which we need. Maybe we should start down here. Because if we can start down on this side, then we can get coins and cards, which might give us some compassion we need before we get to Nephew Fred here. We do have contentment cards we can play. Maybe we start here and hope that we draw the one compassion card when we go here, so that when we move to Nephew Fred, we have the compassion, the contentment, and the charity necessary to play Nephew Fred. Worst case, I can do a trade, but that's fine. Okay, take the spirit token from the Rindell and remove it from the game. Fine, because we're moving on to the Ghost of Christmas Present. Right. If the torch is on its space, take it off, because we have to put it on there every time intentionally. Yeah, okay. Okay. Do we do that? Does that make sense? Because then we can end up down here. This is going to be tough regardless, because if I start down here and just take every opportunity to draw free cards and play contentment twice, if I still don't get it, I can trade with the counting house to get what I need. I think regardless of what happens. I think we need to not be too afraid of backtracking when we have to. Move backwards and not this way and then move that way again. I just don't think that that's going to be avoidable. $6. Problem is, if I move once, I won't be able to just move again. I'd have to do something else. On that note, maybe I should just start on Nephew Fred. Come down here. Start on Nephew Fred. Drop what I have, which is contentment and charity. So if I do that, move for one. Let's just play that out for a minute. Then I drop those two by going to play cards. I can't play cards, not from move. I have to discard a card, which at this stage is okay. So maybe I play cards and discard a card to do that, which would put me there. Right, so then I've played cards. Those cards are there. Then I'm down to these two. So I might as well draw 3 cards for 1. Yeah, okay. I think that's what we're going to do. I don't see a better way. So we'll put these two on Nephew Fred. We need one more contentment. This card has been spent as a move, so that leaves me here. Okay, so we're going to now draw 3 cards. I don't know how I'm going to get more money. Wow. There's at least one of my contentment. That's great. This is rough. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of cash. And I don't know how I'm going to fix that because there's just not a lot of ways to get money. So then I'll spend 1 to play cards, and I'll complete Nephew Fred. So then I just spend 1 to draw 3 cards. Man, this is rough. So then I spend 1 to move. And then I'm out of money. I really don't know how that's supposed to work. Let me just make sure that I'm not. All actions taken on the rundown cost only 1. I think I might be playing this wrong. So in the solitaire variant, it says all actions taken on the rondel cost only 1. I think what that means is all actions that would cost you money only cost you 1. Because the normal rules say, when moving, choose a single spirit card from your hand, play it on the blah, blah, blah. If you have no cards, blah, blah, blah. Move Scrooge from his current scene to another scene that exactly matches the number on the card that you played. Fine. Fine. What about, okay, where is it? There it is. There it is. Choose an action on the rondel and move the spirit token in either direction, placing it on the discard coin from your pool for each space the spirit token moved into or through from its previous action space. Oh. No, that's right. You're just spending a coin no matter what you do. I didn't play that wrong. Even in the multiplayer game, you're still spending a coin every single time. Am I supposed to have more coins, maybe? Is that the problem? I don't think so. Didn't say so. No. Just reading, making sure I'm not missing anything. Nope. Okay. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to get through 3 acts of this. Huh. I don't know. There you go. I've played through 2 attempts at playing Spirits of Christmas. First time around, I failed to get through the first chapter without running out of money. The second time around, I made it a third of the way through the second chapter before running out of money. Yeah. Maybe it's just that tight of an efficiency puzzle, and I'm just not figuring that out. I don't see how every movement on the rondel costing me $1 when the cards only ever give me 1 coin. That means I'm only ever breaking even, ever. So no matter what happens, unless I'm using the coin cards and spending 1 every time, which means I have to have contentment in my hand to move 1. And even then, I can't always move. I have to like discard cards in order to move. And that's easier said than done when your hand limit is 5. And these requirements all require 3. So I don't know. Either I'm completely missing it or this solo mode feels a little broken. Oh yeah. Oh no, I agree with that. But it feels to me like this solo mode is a little broken. But then again, maybe I'm missing some rule that. I mean, I love the treatment, and the game is designed to be a semi-open communication. You can kind of hint at what you have in your hand, and then each player is kind of saying, well, I'm a little light on compassion, or I'm pretty flush in contentment or whatever, but they can't really say, I have 3 contentment or 2 compassion. You can kind of hint where your hand's at, and then it goes around the table and everybody's got their own money. And let me see what each player gets dealt in terms of cash. Each player draws what? Because I am curious, I am legitimately curious what the difference is. Oh, we all share the same pool of 15, so there's no difference. Then it's even harder. It's even harder in a multiplayer game because now you don't even have perfect communication, and you don't know what each player's going to do. And we're all burning down the same pool of 15 coins. Wow. The only difference is in a multiplayer game, you have 7 cards in your hand instead of 5, so you can discard cards more freely, but every move you take that's further away from your place where you started costs additional coins. So it's in the solo game rather, every move is just 1 coin, you're just discarding cards. So it's really about the same. You have a smaller hand limit, but you're discarding cards instead of shillings. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't understand how. I fundamentally don't understand how this game is supposed to work. I'm not missing anything. I'm pretty confident I've interpreted the rules correctly, in every respect that I'm aware of. I want to like it. I think it would be really cool to have a good Christmas Carol game, another game in the Christmas stable like this. But as it is, I don't know that I'm ever going to play it again unless there's something fundamentally different about the rules. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, looking at the play rate right now, looking to see what happens. Yeah. No, I'm not seemingly missing anything. Yeah. Well, there you go. Sorry, short and sweet today. So that's it from me in any case. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again. Take care.